Well, good morning again to everyone. It's great to be here with you today. I think this is probably the fourth or fifth visit over the last number of years. Last time I was with you in person would have been in 2019. It's good to be back with you again, and since then I've got married, and my beautiful wife Amanda is here with me today, and I am a better man every day because of her. You laugh, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And we'll both be at the stand afterwards if you want to come and chat with us about Compassion. We'd love to talk to you and help you. I just want to start today by thanking you again for your ongoing partnership with Compassion. Thank you for your support and commitment out of this congregation, and those of you who are here today, those of you who can't be here, who are online watching, and others who may not be with us here in person today. Together you sponsor 119 children around the world, which is fantastic. And so I just want to say thank you to you, first of all. That's 119 children and families that are impacted because of your support through that local church that they're a part of now, that local church that runs that project in that community. A lot of them are in Iloilo City in the Philippines, and I know a number of you went there in 2019 to visit. You got in before COVID, which is great, so you got to go and see the projects firsthand and to be able to visit. And hopefully one day, again in the future, we don't know when, but one day in the future you'll be able to, as a church and a school, take a trip again to go and visit the children that you sponsor. If we can go to the map slide, if we can click through, to the map slide. So this is actually dots of all the places that families from Real Life Christian Church sponsor children around the world. So the one in the Philippines is big because about 80 of the 119 are sponsored in the Philippines, but then the rest are scattered all around the world. You got to see the dot there that represents the children or the child sponsored from that country, and so it's great to see the impact that you can have collectively around the world. And so if we can go to the next slide, that would be great. So in the Philippines, where you're sponsoring, there's currently approximately 1,577, that will change by the day. Hopefully it goes down every day. Children who are unsponsored in the Philippines at the moment. One of the things that, with COVID at the moment, one of the challenges for Compassion globally is around the world in our partner countries like Australia. Over the last year, churches have not been meeting nearly as much. We've been able to meet a lot more in Australia than churches in other parts of the world, and so the ability to be able to find new sponsors for children has decreased dramatically over the last year. So we actually have the highest number of unsponsored children worldwide that we've ever had at the moment, and so we haven't been able to register any new children into the program yet until we can find more sponsors for the children who are in the program already. And so if you can be praying for that we can see a turnaround in that, and just know that the sponsorship that you do is so valuable, like it's so critical to help us continue to care for these kids. And out of that 1,577, 33 from the projects in Iloilo City are currently unsponsored. And so I've got 20 of them on the table today, and perhaps, actually 2 of them are right here, who I'll talk about in a moment. And so that's an opportunity for those of you who don't yet sponsor or maybe want to add another child to your family. For those of you who are online, there is a link that I'll talk about at the end as well that you can click on. And that link will actually be permanently available for you as a church to just go to and see at any time the kids who are unsponsored from the projects that you partner with in Iloilo City. Some of the children, due to COVID again, have been waiting now a long time for a sponsor. And so I've got 2 of them here today. I've got Dave Jr. Dave Jr. is going to turn 7 later this year, and he's been waiting more than 480 days for a sponsor. And so I would love to see him. So if you're going to sponsor today, please come and get Dave Jr. or Kian here, who's been waiting 470 days. I would love to see both of them find a sponsor today. Both of their dads are sort of sometimes employed as either a day labourer or a farmer, and would be at most earning about $60 a month, if that. That's the average income in the community, and they're only sometimes employed. They're not always getting employment. And so we'd love to see them sponsored today. And so it's a lot more regular to see children now waiting over a year to find a sponsor, and so we would love to see that shortened for so many of these kids. I touched on a lot of what has happened before in COVID, but if you've got any questions or want to ask more about that, please come and talk to us. And so your most recently sponsored child is Mukta from Bangladesh, who is 15. And I got to meet Mukta's sponsor before the service, which was fantastic. And just by chance, chatting to a gentleman here who told me, "Oh, I sponsor in Bangladesh." I'm like, "What's her name?" And it's Mukta, and I'm like, "Yes." So Mukta is your most recently sponsored child as a community, and I love seeing children around that age sponsored, because often if they don't have a sponsor, they're left sitting on the table, because people will tend to go to the younger children, and that's okay, that's fine. But I love seeing when the older children get sponsored. And so Mukta is your most recent. Over the last 12 months, if we can go to the next slide, you've sent and received 399 letters with the children that you sponsor. 172 letters sent by you and 221 sent by the children. And so thank you for continuing to write to the kids over the past year. Your letters may take a little longer to get there and come back at different times due to COVID. Obviously, teams, their highest priority in the projects in the field is to make sure that the families are cared for and make sure that they've got all the food they need and the medical care they need and all these different things. But the letters are valuable and important, so thank you for your support in that. And just some prayer points and things to be praying for with the projects. So pray for the local church compassion projects. And remembering that they are locals in Iloilo City or in the other countries where you're sponsoring, they're locals who are living in the midst of this lockdown as well. They're living in the midst of this pandemic. They're living in the midst of what's going on. Their families are dealing with this as well, and yet they are in the middle of that, still ensuring and making sure that these children are cared for and looked after. So pray for them. Pray that they'll be able to get back to meeting in person. Prior to this current lockdown in the Philippines, a lot of the projects have begun to start to meet in person again, particularly the youth getting together and being able to meet. And so we'd love to see more of that. Pray for all the distribution of the food and the health packs that are making such a big difference to the families. The medical care, so there's a lot of medical care going on for families who have medical needs. And understanding and I'm not belittling the challenges that we face during COVID, but when we're in lockdown, we have our homes, we have Netflix, we have probably, for most of us, still our incomes for the majority of us. We have a full fridge. We might have had to fight for toilet paper or something at Coles, but we've got what we need. For these families, when they're in lockdown, you've got to understand they're now all living in a confined space. They're all the time in very small, cramped living conditions. They've possibly lost their only source of income. It's really, really hard for them. And so be praying for them. Know that your support is helping them, but be praying for them as they go through this. Our teams are working really hard in terms of child protection as well to make sure that children are not being put in vulnerable positions or being preyed upon during this time. They work on that all the time, but they're particularly aware of that right now as well. And so just remember, your sponsorship is helping families. So again, I just want to reiterate our thanks to you for your support. I just want to share a couple of thoughts today. I'll start by sharing a scripture out of Psalm 147 and verse 4. And it says this, it says, "He determines the number of stars, he knows them by name." I'll read it again. "He determines the number of stars, he knows them by name." I don't know if you've gone outside and looked at the stars recently on a clear night. Coming into winter, we have a whole lot more clear nights without clouds. And you look at the stars, and when you get a clear night and you're not around bright lights or anything, you can see a sky full of stars. And we tend to or often notice the bright ones first, or you might look for a constellation or something that I don't know many. I can usually find the Southern Cross and point it out because that's all I know, and find that. But we often look at, that's a really bright star, that's a really bright star. But when you actually stop for a moment and look at the whole lot, you see there are so many stars in the sky. Some of them, to our eyes, from where we're standing, can look quite faint. But the more you actually look at those ones, the more you see they're actually everywhere. There's so many of them. And they're all over the night sky. And so I encourage you, go and look at the stars sometime soon, and rather than the instant, oh, look at that bright one, look at all of them, and see them all, see those faint ones as well, all throughout, that look faint to our eye, all throughout the sky. There are so many stars there, and it says that about each of those stars, it says he determined the number of them, he determined that they would be there, and he knows them by name. I think there's a parallel in our life that often the bright stars are noticed and talked about, but every star, every person in life, he determined, he created, he placed there, he values, he created them to shine, he knows every one of them by name. When we talk about compassion, every child is a star to shine. Every child is known by him and known by name. Perhaps not yet noticed, but known by name, waiting for their opportunity to shine like they were created to do. And so I just want to share some thoughts about stars that relate and parallel to us as people, and tie it in a little bit with compassion. The first thought here is they all shine in their own way. So every star shines differently. They may look similar, but they each give light differently to each part of the universe that they're in. They were created to light up in a certain way and in a certain space. Matthew 5:14-16 says this. Jesus says these words. He says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." I like that it says in there, let your light shine. Not someone else's light. Let your light shine. Jesus actually says, let your light shine. We are created to shine. Not like someone else, but like you. Created to shine like you. Often in life we try to shine like others. We see someone else shining, oh, it'd be better if I shine like that. No, we were actually created to shine like us. You were created to shine like you. Or sometimes in life we want everyone to, shine the same way. Everyone's got to conform and fit to a certain mold, and that's not how God created us. It's not how he made us. And Jesus doesn't say, let your light shine everyone like this exactly. No, the way that you were created to shine, because we're all so different and we're all unique. Everyone is made to shine in the way that they are uniquely made. Every star in the sky shines uniquely in the way that it was made. Every compassion project in the world is similar but different. Similar, they follow a framework, but different in that autonomy is given to the local team there to be able to go, actually, this is the best way that we help meet a healthcare need in our community. It would be such a shame if compassion or anyone went and said, well, there's a water problem, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a well in every community in the world. Because some of them don't need wells. Some of them just need water filters. It needs to be different everywhere. And then, even more so than the projects, every child in those projects is different. We're not into it being cookie cutter, where every child has to turn out the same. Every one of those children is different and has unique needs and is created to shine in their certain way. We have a resource at Compassion called My Plan for Tomorrow. And what it is once a child reaches about 11 or 12 years of age, they get this book. It's like a journal for them that they write in, and they write in what their dreams and their goals are and their different things. And every child gets the opportunity to write what they want in, and then rather than them being told what they should become, it's like, okay, this is your dream, and the local church team are like, how can we help you achieve that dream? How can we help you become that person? And for some of them, it might be, well, you want to be, this is your goal that you want to go for. Fantastic. We'll help you get to that. We'll help shape you. You become the way that you're meant to be to be able to do that. They've all got different goals and dreams, and it's encouraged for each child rather than just one mold fits all, because every child shines in their own way. Every star shines as they were intended to. The second thought is this: all stars are bright, some just might be further away from where we see. Every star in the universe is bright. It just happens to be that when we stand here and see it, one looks brighter and one looks fainter, but every star is bright. They may just be further away, or we just may need to look a little closer. When you look at the night sky, the more you look at all of them, the more you see that, I didn't see that one before, and now I see it, and I see, and I see, and I see, and I see. We can see so much more, because each star is bright and beautiful and shines amazingly. We just need to notice it. Every child around the world is a bright star just waiting to be noticed, waiting to be seen someone to let them shine in the way that God created them to shine, to let them shine with their gifts and their abilities. I think way too often in life we place greater value on stars that shine in a certain way. We hold them up too high in value. It's not that they're not valuable, it's just that all stars are. Every person is. Compassion, we have a saying that each child should be known, loved, and protected. Known, if a child hasn't been in a month to the Compassion Project, or there's been no contact, someone from that local church project will be visiting that family to see how the child's going. They're not just another number in the program. Every child is valued that way. They're loved and they're protected. They're looked out for. They're known in that way. And my third thought is this: without a single star, the universe is not the same. The night sky is the way it is because of all the stars. You start removing some and you've got 10 stars in the night sky. It looks very different than all of the stars in the night sky. But you take one out and it changes. It's different. I understand we live life and there's change in life and there's seasons in life, but there's so many stars that never get the chance. Yet without them, the universe is not the same. Without them, the world is not the same. So many children never get the chance. 16,000 children each day don't make it to their 5th birthday because of preventable causes. Things like diarrhea, malaria, malnutrition, they don't make it to their 5th birthday. I can't imagine being a parent not being able to provide, wanting to, trying to, not being able to. Our youngest, Joshy, is 4. And Joshy likes the fridge and the pantry a lot. He goes there frequently. And I can't imagine when he's hungry, genuinely hungry, not just I want another snack, but really hungry, that we couldn't give him food. I couldn't imagine being a parent in that scenario. Couldn't imagine him being sick and not being able to take him to the doctor. That is the reality for so many. They're little stars that don't get their chance to shine like they should. There's 385 million children who are living in extreme poverty, with the potential to shine as they're created, but being snuffed out by the suffocation of poverty. It's not the same without them being able to shine like they were meant to be able to shine. Poverty it's not just a lack of physical, material things. It's not just a lack of water or food or healthcare, although it is all those things as well. It's to the position where a little child can see no hope for their future. I've asked former sponsored children when they were little, when they were children, what was their dream? Remember one response was saying, I didn't have a dream. I didn't think I could have a future. I didn't know that I could have anything other than what I was living in. All I was thinking about was how I was going to get food the next day. This man said, as a child, we'd go out during the day and hope that some bananas would fall off the back of a truck so we could get them and get food. He said, I didn't have a dream. But then when he became part of the local Compassion Project, got sponsored, had someone looking out for him, dreams started to come. He started to think about, maybe not in these terms, but the way that he could shine. And for all these children, you're giving them the opportunity to shine like they're meant to, because it's not the same without them. They were created. Start taking stars out of the night sky or snuffing them out. It's not the same. God knows and named and determined every single one of them, and he did with every single person on this planet. And he's asking and challenging us to say, are we going to help? Are we going to do anything about that? And I know you are, and I say thank you. There's 385 million children living in extreme poverty. Currently, through Compassion, there's a little over 2 million children who are supported, getting the opportunity to shine. We want to see that continue to grow. There's other organisations doing great work as well, but there's so many of those 385 million who are not getting their chance yet. It's going to take so much more than just what's happening now. It will take people sponsoring children like you have, and I can't say it too many times, thank you. But it's also about inviting others on the journey, getting others involved, getting the next generation involved in it, getting to the point where there's a whole movement of people who go, we've got to help these kids to shine. We've got to help these kids to be who they were created to be, to not be snuffed out by poverty, to let them shine. And so this morning, it's a simple thought, I hope. I hope I haven't taken a simple thought and made it too complicated. Every star is determined and named by God. He knows them by name. That represents people, every person, every child, every parent. Your sponsorship helps parents so much that they might have 4 children in their family, and all of a sudden a couple of them are sponsored, and the little that they have goes so much further now because of the support that they're getting, and it's helping all their children. And for those of you who have been to a Compassion Project, you meet a parent, my goodness, they are so grateful for the support that their family is receiving, that their kids are receiving. It makes a huge and massive difference because their little star gets to shine bright. As every star shines brightly, sometimes we just don't see. And it's nothing wrong with the star, it's just our eyes or the position that we're in to see and to let them shine. I want to show you a short video, and then I'll wrap up after that. In the Philippines, a place called Larega, and see what can happen in a community when the children and the families are helped. So if we can play that now, and then I'll wrap up.
I grew up in this place. I saw these things happen in my community. At the very young age, I am exposed to drug selling, drug abuse, and drug running.
Larega is a ring in the air. If you say Larega, then people will always associate you with drug addiction, with prostitution. Child protection is really one of the most important things that we, partners of Compassion, can do to help the child.
I asked them what are the dreams, and most of the mother cried. So I changed the question and I said, okay, if you don't have a dream for yourself, what is your dream for your children? And they cry more. And after talking to more than 200 parents, I can't sleep. I can't sleep because imagining and thinking about I will be ministering to this place where people don't have really dreams.
When I was young, I don't have any hope. But then, when I came to know the Lord, it makes something new. He molded me into a beautiful one because of the hope that He gave me.
It's really my dream that they can really be released from poverty in all aspects and can be an influencer in their community.
I am now a teacher, so now I can teach more students. I can teach more children, mothers, because God teach me. And I want to use my life as a living testimony to those people who don't know Christ yet.
Lorega now is totally different. Before, even taxi driver will not come inside Lorega, shooting every day. But Lorega now is totally open with the gospel.
I am here standing in front of you because I am one of those children. My sponsor was from the US. Through her, I am now a graduate student of the Bible school.
I always dream with our children because their lives have been giving hope in the community. When other children will see them, it inspires others.
Compassion International, the staff, the case worker, plays a major role to instill into the child that there is hope in spite of poverty. And Lorega now is a better place than before.
I can say that God is my Redeemer. God is my cornerstone. And He has done beautiful things in my life.
The impact is to a child, it's to a family, it's to a whole community. Our hope is that compassion doesn't have to be in communities for generations. When we partner with the church, our hope is that one day they'll be able to support the children themselves without the partnership. One day they'll be able to do it themselves, and one day there won't be the need for it because there won't be extreme poverty in that community anymore. The impact is huge. So today I want to say thank you for your support. I want to ask you to help in making sure that children waiting for sponsorship find a sponsor. There might be some of you here and you don't yet sponsor a child. You haven't yet had the opportunity, or perhaps in the past haven't had the means, and now you do. And I would really encourage you to come and sponsor a child today. There's some of you who are already sponsoring children, and I would say thank you. Some of you will be at capacity of what you have in your means. I understand that. So thank you for your support. Please continue to do it. Some of you might have room for one more child in your family. You might be able to go from 1 to 2. You might be able to take another child on and sponsor them. And if you can do that, thank you. Please, I encourage you to do that. Perhaps you are really at the point of, like, we sponsor a bunch of kids. We're at the capacity of what we can do. That's fantastic. Maybe you could help find a sponsor for some of these children as well. Maybe you can go, you know what, I'll actually actively see what family I know, what friends I know, what people I know in that I have relationship who I would feel comfortable to ask. And some of you might not, but some of you might want to do that. It might be sharing a link. It might be talking to someone about it. Can I encourage you to do that as well? I would love to see as many of these children sponsored. I'd love to see at one point all of the kids in Iloilo City where you partner sponsored. Where you come to me asking for more children, I'm like, well, we've got to add another place because they're all sponsored. You guys are sponsoring them all. None of that is to pressure or guilt anyone. I want you to do it out of your heart of wanting to do it and respond in the way that you can. And so again, I want to say thank you, and I also want to invite you to do that. Let me pray and we'll finish. Father, I just want to thank you for this church. Thank you for their heart to help those who are in need. Thank you for their heart to help these children shine like they're meant to shine like they can, to be given every opportunity possible for the 119 children around the world, for their families, for the communities. Thank you for the impact that is happening there. And I thank you also for this church and the impact that they can, are, and will have in this local community as well. Lord, that there will be an impact here that flows out of these walls and into this community, as well as doing it around the world. And so we just thank you for that right now. Just bless this church in their mission, in their focus, in their outward focus that they have. Not focused on themselves, but they're focused outwardly, Lord, and we give you praise for that and thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you.